Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to No Final Bell, episode 31. Before we go into our normal side of things, we thought we'd, say, of course, condolences to, Shad Gaspard, but that man is a true freaking hero. He drowned saving his son and is now going to be the recipient of the 2022 Warrior Award, which
they should just rename that award to the Shad Gaspard Award.
I think they really should.
But
I can understand why they call it the Warrior Award, because
yes, he's a warrior, he's a hero.
So
regardless, Shad Gaspard, well deserved.
Definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
We kind of figured that he would probably get awarded in some kind of capacity in some way like that, and I'm glad he is. It just sucks that he has to be no longer with us to get that kind of award, but I'm hoping that JTG takes it in part of his honor.
Yes,
if not his wife as well. So
here's what I said in a post when I found out about it. I said that JTG should give the acceptance speech, and then his wife, Shad's wife, accepts the award in Shad's honor.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I really do.
Because who knows Shad better than, first of all, his wife, but also his JTG. Best friend.
Right, exactly. Who have been together.
And tag team partner.
Yeah, and they've been in a tag team for a long time. Crime Time was literally one of the better tag teams of the Attitude Era.
Well,
or not the Attitude Era, but the Ruthless Aggression Era. Sorry.
Even though they were based on a stereotype, but we'll let that slide.
Yeah, but they were, former tag team champions, though, so they at least got the spotlight.
One of the greatest tag teams of the Ruthless Aggression / PG era.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and, granted, I know they tried to capitalize on a heel turn for Shad. It just never worked out. I don't really think Shad was the kind of person that could successfully pull off a believable heel.
Right.
So that's kind of why it fell flat. But regardless, well deserved.
Going forward, really didn't want to talk about this too much, but sad to see Triple H having to put his in-ring wrestling career on, retire. It's probably the best for him because of everything with his heart failure and his heart condition and everything like that.
Especially considering the man has a defibrillator in his chest now.
Yes.
Because of all of his complications from heart failure and just
I'm not trying to make a joke out of this, but ladies and gentlemen, this is why you don't abuse steroids for years, because it will bite you in the ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, that's what's kind of happened at Triple H, hence why he has had so many countless injuries and is now dealing with heart failure and heart problems.
I think those injuries stem from, if you're talking his knee problems, that just his knee problems, but in terms of overall injuries, then yes. But I think the overall injuries are mainly due to his knees.
Right.
So, plain and simple, the man has bad knees, but regardless, but you're right, you're absolutely right. It definitely stems from years of steroid abuse and because look at what happened to Eddie Guerrero. Eddie passed from the exact same thing.
Right.
Not to mention, during a match, he had a heart attack. They had to literally speed through
Triple H did the right thing and retired before that happened, because there's been things going around that deliberately he could have died in a ring, and I hate to say it, I think it could have been very true for Triple H that he could have very well have died in a ring if he was to wrestle another match having the heart condition that he's got right now.
Cut back to a random match on Raw back in 2013 against one Curtis Axel. He had to stop the match and like get a drink of water. And he very well could have, like, if not died, had a heart attack or essentially like passed out if he hadn't like stopped the match and been like, "Hey, give me some water." Like,
Oh, Triple H.
yes,
Yeah, Triple
yes,
H has had, as of late, since getting off of everything, just wasn't the same anymore. Like literally, this is why kids. I mean, I don't really want to have that kind of life lesson, but right now, this is Triple H is the prime example of what happens when you abuse drugs for a very, very long time. Your body breaks down and just can't handle anything.
yeah,
Heart is, probably heavier than it probably should be. I get it. He's, been sober for quite a long time, but um, we hope that Triple H can enjoy retirement and hopefully, this doesn't lead to him potentially, kicking the bucket anytime soon. I'm hoping
yeah,
that this, means that he can at least spend more time with his daughters and stuff like that. So
yeah,
we hope Triple H the best of retirement, but at least he's still involved with WWE in some way, shape, or form, just not in the sense of running NXT or as a wrestler. So now we thought we'd get into our main side of things, starting with Impact and Rest. Is it just
just
Impact?
Impact.
Just Impact for 2
2 weeks
weeks in
of
a row.
Impact. Yes, so we will catch up on all of our Impact Wrestling right now as we learn that the Motor City Machine Guns will square off against the Bullet Club for the first time. Motor City Machine Guns beat Bullet Club, and then we have a matchup between Steve Macklin and Rhino. Now, this is interesting, and as far as I know, this may be the first time in maybe even a while, or just the first time in general, that a wrestler has beaten his opponent using his own finisher. So Steve Macklin beat Rhino with the gore.
Hmm.
Then we cut backstage, and the Inspiration are still trying to bribe Caleb with a K and question his loyalty, essentially. So then we go to backstage, and Heath is like, "Hey, man, what's going on? We were so great as a tag team. Now we're trying to do our own thing. It's not quite working. Like, we work well as a tag team. So let's keep our focus. Let's, like, fulfill our promise to become tag team champions." And Rhino getting, like, Heath was basically getting Rhino pumped up and, like, hey, you know, let's be this tag team. Let us, you can be the War Machine. You're still the War Machine, but let's be a collective War Machine and let's get those tag team titles. We go back to in-ring action. We don't have to talk about Brian Myers being on commentary, but regardless, he's on commentary for a match between Bhupinder Gujar and Larry D, in which Bhupinder beats Larry D, and then Raj Singh comes down. He came down midway through the match. He still wanted to recruit Bhupinder, but Bhupinder wanted nothing to do with Raj. We will talk about what decision Raj Singh ended up making later on. But W. Morrissey comes down. He wants to get his hands on Brian Myers. Brian Myers wheels his way out. Bhupinder pushes Raj Singh down and basically feeds him to W. Morrissey, who then puts him through a table. Then we go backstage once again. Speedball Mike Bailey is getting ready for a qualifier match for the X Division title, seemingly getting inside Ace Austin's head, talking him up. And then we have Honor No More with Eddie Edwards, and Alicia is like, "Hey, what's your deal? Like, this is a BS ultimatum that you want to choose Honor No More over Impact Wrestling." And at that point, it is eating Eddie alive. Like, why? He's basically questioning why Alicia can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and like why she can't realize that all the insecurities and indifferences that Impact has thrown the way of Eddie and Honor No More. Then we get the Champ Challenge this week. It is a triple threat against Lady Frost and Giselle Shaw. And of course, Deonna Purrazzo retains. There's nothing too surprising there. And we don't have to talk much about that. Jonah beats Zicky Dice. But after the match, PCO proves that he is not human. He rises from the ashes to come back and get some revenge on Jonah. Then we get Masha Slamovich beating Ari. I think that's her name. But regardless, Masha Slamovich beating down another jobber. Then in the main event of that week, Josh Alexander beats Matt Taven of Honor No More. But we learned that because he had until the end of the night to sign that contract to make the match official at Rebellion, Moose invades Josh Alexander's home to deliver his signed contract for a match at Rebellion. So he has made it personal with Josh Alexander, and to start the next week of Impact tapings, they are in the 2300 arena. They brawl. Matter of fact, Josh Alexander was looking to throw Moose over the balcony. And I do believe that is the exact same balcony in the 2300 arena where New Jack and Vic Grimes had that brutal fall. But then we get to in-ring action. This is the second of two triple threat matches, qualifiers for the X Division Championship triple threat match at Rebellion. So, Speedball Mike Bailey, Laredo Kid, Willie Mack, who will go on to Rebellion to square off against both Ace Austin and Trey Miguel for the X Division title, but none other than Speedball Mike Bailey. So we have a guaranteed that is going to be potentially one or the other to potentially win the X Division Championship, whether it be Ace Austin or Speedball Mike Bailey. But regardless, we saw the return of Mahabali Shera on BTI, and needless to say, he is back in Impact Wrestling and has once again aligned himself with Raj Singh. Raj Singh basically told Bhupinder Gujjar, he's like, hey, you had your chance, Bhupinder, but now I've aligned myself with an Indian lion in Shera. So then we have Steve Macklin beating Heath with his feet on the ropes, and after the match, Rhino gores him. Then, again, like I said, Caleb with a K's loyalty still being questioned because the Influence were doing both of their segments. So Caleb with a K was part of the All About Me show for Tennille Dashwood. And she was like, hey, who are you loyal to? And Caleb with a K was basically avoiding the question. Next thing you know, he goes away from the set of All About Me, goes on and apparently gets himself on the set of Locker Room Talk, which is Madison Rain's show, and again, being questioned with Tennille there, is like, hey, I have a question for you. Where does your loyalty stand? And, Caleb with a K is like, my neck still hurts. I gotta go. So he is very much dodging the question of where his loyalty stands. But a big announcement for Rebellion. Jonah, the top dog, versus the Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii, announced for Rebellion. And speaking of Tomohiro Ishii, he will be in a match at WrestleCon as part of the multiverse of matches this upcoming Friday against Eddie Edwards. But we have tag team championships on the line in a bit of a interesting stipulation. Lumberjack match. So Violent by Design retained the tag team titles with a little help from the Lumberjacks, some outside interference. They defeated the Good Brothers. Then we have Eddie Edwards beating Rocky Romero, and after the match, beats him down. But then we have an interesting bit of business. Jonathan Gresham makes his return and beats down Eddie Edwards. After all, Eddie Edwards is the one that basically prevented Jonathan Gresham from becoming the 5th member of Team Impact at, I want to say, No Surrender, in that fight against Honor No More. So, Jonathan Gresham, I'm not surprised that he came down to. Then we have Zicky Dice. So after Jonah's match against Zicky Dice is like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, maybe I need to learn some more. Maybe I need, and that's when Gia Miller is like, well, have you thought about going to a wrestling school? And at that point, Zicky Dice is like, yeah, a wrestling school. I could hone up my craft. So Zicky Dice takes a session from Swinger's Dungeon Wrestling School, and Johnny Swinger issues the Chump Chump Challenge. We'll have to see what he means by that. But then we have our usual recap of matches for next week. This tomorrow, we have Josh Alexander versus Madman Fulton, Jonathan Gresham versus Kenny King, and in a rematch, Bullet Club versus Motor City Machine Guns. And then in the main event of this week's tapings in the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, the old ECW Arena, Tasha Steelz retained her Knockouts title against Mickie James in a Philadelphia street fight. Then we get some betrayal from Chelsea Green towards Mickie James after the match. And shockingly enough, after the match, Matt Cardona gives the radio silence to Mickie James. And then Chelsea, in the biggest heel turn of them all, revealed that her arm was never broken to begin with. So
what a heel. What a heel. And what a bitch.
Yeah, I think that's putting it lightly.
But
About Chelsea.
yes, going into the AEW side of things, the sign of the week, again, PG Punk is overrated. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so. He's put on some decently stellar matches, but coming back after being out for so long, I wouldn't say he's overrated. He's just very washed up.
Yeah, I can certainly agree with that.
But speaking of CM Punk, I could have swore that he was going to talk after, not seeing him for so long. But he actually had a match against Dax Harwood in a decently back and forth exchange.
Traditional pro wrestling.
I thought Dax Harwood was going to get the victory over CM Punk, but nope. CM Punk beats Dax Harwood with the Anaconda Vice. Of course, CM Punk keep on putting up those victories. Is it going to eventually lead into a title match? That's what I want to know.
I think so.
Is he going to eventually get one? Because I don't know when it's going to be, but I would certainly wouldn't mind seeing Scorpio Sky versus CM Punk. CM Punk has put up, has a great resume and has earned his spot to get that title opportunity, which we will talk about. Scorpio Sky in the TNT Championship. In the future there. Chris Jericho is with the Jericho Appreciation Society because they are going to be debuting later on in the night. But states we haven't really seen Eddie Kingston ever since his victory at Revolution, which is very true. We haven't seen Eddie Kingston at all.
Well, not even since the Jericho Appreciation Society became a thing.
Exactly. We haven't seen any Eddie Kingston. We haven't seen Pride and Powerful. We haven't seen anybody. Now, the question is this teasing something? I really do think so. I think that this is going to be teasing into a Double or Nothing match in Las Vegas. I don't know what kind of match it's going to be at Double or Nothing, but there is going to. We talked about them multiple times. I'm thinking like a LAX versus Jericho Appreciation Society in some way, because you got the pro wrestlers against the sports entertainers, which it makes a lot of sense to have that kind of match heading at Double or Nothing. Um, I would like to see it as like a casino, um, like a no rules type of tag team, like 5-on-5 match where they just going at each other throughout the arena, or like a what they could honestly do, which would make a lot of sense as a not like a lights out match, but like no fans in the stands type of match,
Oh, like an empty arena
like
match.
an empty arena match where they can just go all out and beat the living crap out of each other. Now that I can honestly see. Um, it will be interesting to see what happens, but yeah, as far as that goes, we haven't seen any sight of Eddie Kingston at all. I'm sure that soon enough we will get to see Eddie Kingston and lead into a faction versus faction match. So, in a crazy, crazy Texas Tornado Tag Team match, man, I tell you, some crazy spots there. But Darby, can we just agree that maybe you shouldn't be taking the spots that you do? Because one, you're going to shorten your career, and
Yeah.
two, how many stairs you have to go through, man, just to prove
Yeah,
a point of how
seriously.
tough you are.
We get it, but we get it. You can take a beating, but don't
Because
throw
you had some
yourself down a
nasty
flight of concrete
lacerations on
stairs.
your back there from those stairs.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. The charismatic Enigma definitely stays true to his name because he goes on the ledge and swanton bombs through two tables onto the
They were
Butcher and a
merch tables
Blade.
too, damn it.
Hey man,
What are they gonna do with that
it's
merch
great
now?
action. This definitely could have been a main event for the night, but it wasn't. It kind of sad because I think they could have done a lot more instead of kind of like rushing it because it kind of felt a little rushed, but there was a lot of action that was going on in that match, and I mean a lot. Um, we saw kind of like the side effect through the tables with Private Power Party and Matt Hardy. It's safe to say that the Hardys like to go through tables.
Oh yeah.
Safe to say that the Hardys definitely do.
Safe
It
to
was a
say they took a page out of
it
the
was a great
Dudley's
match,
playbook.
but I'm definitely gonna say this now. We have not seen the end of the Hardys Sting and Darby against the Andrade family office. This is definitely going to lead into probably a pay-per-view match, if anything.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what happens with that. But yes, the Hardys Sting and Darby beat Andrade family office, but that's definitely not the last time we get to see both of them competing against each other. FTR think the Gum Club are spoiled rotten brats, which probably are.
They have a point. They kind of are.
And we'll
They
get the
kind of got where they were because of their father. So
even though yes, he has had substance abuse issues in the past. We don't like to go into the full details about that, but as you know, kind of has dealt with some problems with roids back in the day. So yes.
well,
Um,
I don't know so much about roids as much as just other performance
yeah,
enhancing drugs.
yeah, probably. Well, FTR and Gun Club get to face off next week, and who is going to be out there with the Gun Club? No one other than their father, Billy Gunn. So it'd be interesting to see who wins
No,
this
no,
match.
Steve. It's not Billy Gunn. It's Billy Ass.
Billy Ass and the Ass
Bill
Boys.
Ass and the Ass Boys.
The FTR is like, we're too grown up to have to call them the Ass Boys. We're just gonna call them Billy's sons. Which
Okay.
I mean, I hate to
everybody
say
else that's immature is gonna call them Ass Boys, and everybody else that's a fan of Danhausen will call them Ass Boys.
So yes, FTR and Gun Club. Who do we think could win this match? I hate to say FTR. Um, for God's sake, can they do something with those AAA tag team titles? For God's sake, they just hold them
well, at least in AEW.
Can they just hold them for ransom in AEW? Yeah, okay, it's cool. You come out with them every single time you're coming out to wrestle, but like you just hold them to hold them. Like you're holding them ransom, not really doing much with them. You're not really defending them much. at all, no matter where you go. So can you actually do something with those tag team titles?
Yeah.
Because it kind of makes them look a little irrelevant in the whole AEW sense of things. Hate to say it, but going forward, Moxley and Danielson beat the Varsity Blondes, and they, yeah, you gotta say, you better be ready to step up or get stepped on. They just are that great tag team.
And we officially have a name for this unlikely pairing. They are the Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good name for them because, they bring it no matter where they go. They're going to squash the competition. Not literally, but maybe we'll squash the competition. But I honestly think that they could be very close to a tag team title opportunity. And who's to say they don't get that double or nothing against the Jurassic Express? But going forward, MJF says it's too bad Wardlow didn't get the job done. And MJF says he honors his business agreements. And he says he just wasn't, Wardlow. He just says that Wardlow wasn't good enough to win a TNT championship. Then changes focus is the Punk and claims he had Punk beat in a cheat, even though it was no rules.
Sure you did, Matt.
I'm sorry, but you didn't cheat if there's no rules there. You can throw in a ring all you want. There's no cheating in that factor. It's a dog collar match, no rules. No countouts, no disqualifications. I mean, you literally beat the shit out of each other. That's basically what it is. So there was no cheating in that factor. If there will be another match, doesn't know when or where. I hate to say it, but I guess I can see why you kind of need that rubber match because MJF has a one-up. CM Punk has a one-up. They kind of need to have a rubber match to settle the score.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. As far as when or where, probably not a double or nothing. I would think sooner than later they're going to have a rematch, but we'll see what happens. Yes, Fowler will be another match, doesn't know when or where. And Fowler will be the most embarrassing loss he will ever encounter. Which, I was thinking, was it going to be in Chicago, Illinois again, or something different? Like, what were you getting at by the most embarrassing loss he will ever encounter? And this isn't over. MJF kind of stepping a line a little bit. I mean, he's been doing that a lot, but that's not the only thing he's crossed the line over with saying. Says this won't be over until he attends CM Punk's funeral and pisses on his grave. Damn, MJF, that is very deep. You are crossing so many damn lines, aren't you? But MJF says if it wasn't for him, people wouldn't know who Wardlow is, and that's probably very well true. I mean, Wardlow didn't become a household name, by himself. It was with the help of MJF, getting him there to where he is. And then says he signed a deal with the devil, which kind of feels like he did. And it's ironclad. It says he will stake him to a cross like the Lord himself, Jesus Christ. And no, yes, that's the Lord's name. But man, that's a little insensitive. Those fans got like, whoa, I can't believe he just said that. He's gonna.
Yeah, that
took it a little too far. This ain't no attitude era. You're not gonna beat the Undertaker and put him on the cross and tie him up.
Please don't remind me of when he crucified Stephanie McMahon and forced a marriage on her.
So I'm hoping we're not going to see any kind of thing like that because that was taking it a little too far.
If you're going to go too extreme, then certainly don't have Sandman being crucified like Raven did in ECW.
Right.
As a matter of fact, that was the moment that made Kurt Angle say no ultimately to ECW, which was probably a good idea.
And then MJF says he owns Wardlow and doesn't want Wardlow here anymore, where fortunately it's probably going to lead, sites have been saying that this is going to lead to Wardlow not being on TV for a good amount of time because of the whole storyline saying that, he's under contract. He's not technically an AEW wrestler under AEW contract, even though technically in real life he is. But in storyline wise, you're not going to probably see Wardlow on TV for a while unless he makeshift signs a AEW contract and officially is an AEW wrestler, as weird as that seems, because he was technically signed as MGS bodyguard, not
Yeah.
as an AEW wrestler. Well, it's going to eventually lead into Wardlow signing a makeshift AEW contract where he gets to eventually wrestle against MJF at Double or Nothing. With a very interesting change of pace, Trent says he's done with Wheeler Yuta, but Wheeler Yuta says he vows to be the best wrestler he can be. What does that mean? It means he wants to be with a whole bunch of pro wrestlers. Yeah. He doesn't want to be best friends anymore. He doesn't want to be a joke. He wants to be shown as a professional wrestler and join up with Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. Yeah. As we've seen that his loyalty does not lie with the best friends anymore. It's going to lie with the guidance of William Regal, Jon Moxley, and Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to be part of the Blackpool Combat Club. Just plain and simple.
And as he should, because I think that's the right move for him going forward. So Adam Cole beats Jay Lethal and says that there's no one more deserving than him to win the AEW Championship, and says he will shove that bottle up his ass. I don't know what he means by bottle, because we haven't seen Adam Hangman Page drinking that kind of bottle, anything from a bottle, since his return to AEW from when he was out, with the birth of his
paternity leave,
birth of his son. So I don't know what the hell he means by a bottle up his ass. It's kind of a law.
Unless he's talking about a baby bottle.
Yeah, it could. And it says Hangman is a coward. And out comes Hangman down to the ring and starts to remove his belt and beat down on Red Dragon. And then Red Dragon and Adam Cole beat down on Adam Hangman Page.
That's some real cowboy shit, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think so. A little cowboy shit with the belt, but Adam Cole and Red Dragon beat him down, and then Cole holds up the title, and then the tag champs come down to save Hangman as well as Christian Cage, and then Cole steals the title. Oh wait, but we'll let you know that's not the only title that he stole. So Sammy and Ty Conte won a piece of American Top Team. But Dan Lambert's like, no, you're not going to get that match anytime soon. They're probably going to be saving it for Double or Nothing, as Paige VanZant is still training to be a professional wrestler. She's going to, still take that training. She's probably going to be ready by Double or Nothing. It wouldn't shock me. You're probably going to see Paige VanZant and, either Ethan Page or... I think, I want to say that. It's going to be Ethan Page and Paige VanZant versus Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara. Which, okay, cool. But Sammy Guevara, really? You got to subject him to the American Top Team after he loses the TNT Championship? Like, jeez. Okay, I mean, sure. But it's something. Won't get that match right now. And Dan Lambert holds up the title, kisses it, and then Sammy Guevara, as weird as this is, says, if you only knew what we did with that championship, and now you got all of that on your mouth. And kind of gets all, disgruntled, and so fans, if you've seen on the internet, our Ty Conti did post kind of nude with the TNT Championship with Sammy Guevara naked, so I'm sure they were doing some, naughty things there in that bedroom with the TNT Championship.
Let's just say it's similar to what Paige has done in the past with the NXT Women's Championship, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly. So, legit Layla Hirsch beats Red Velvet and then beats her down after the match, and here comes out Chris Statlander to help Red Velvet. As much as I don't like this, like, I get it, Red Velvet and Chris Statlander are together, but like the whole thing going on with all of them with legit Layla Hirsch, it's almost as bad as like seeing Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida. Which, speaking of that, where the hell have they been as of late? Oh, has AEW already given up on the whole fact that Serena Deeb is shitty and the whole 5 minute rookie challenge was just a waste of 5 minutes? Because it kind of was. It was a kind of a waste of TV time on Rampage. Nothing against Serena Deeb, but she's definitely better than subjecting herself to talent that's just literally going to get squashed every single night. So, but yeah, this is about as annoying as seeing, Hikaru Shida and Serena Deeb all the time. So please, AEW, there's 2 championships and there's a whole bunch of women, so get them involved in the title picture, please. Because right now Jake Cargill doesn't have an opponent. Right now Thunder Rosa, kind of technically does. We'll talk about that. Little insensitive comments that were made, and we'll get to that soon. Jake Cargill wants a celebration fit for a queen. Thoughts? She's
I don't know
well
if Jade
deserving.
Cargill really is a queen yet, though.
Well, I guess she very well deserves a celebration for being undefeated, but it's going to be very short-lived. I really do think that one of the newer signings of the women division will probably get to, be here for the TBS Championship. Of course, we'll see what happens with that. But, very interesting stuff. So, Thunder Rosa comes out in her adopted hometown of Texas, or Texas adopted state of Texas, better yet. Holds up the title with Vicky Guerrero coming out and saying,
I don't even want to really talk too much about it, but
saying she can take her fake green card and move back to Mexico, even though she's not even anywhere close to Mexican.
They did her dirty.
And then Nyla Rose beats her down after the match. I'm really hoping, thoughts, and was that drawing the line? Yeah, it was drawing the line. It was a little insensitive of
very insensitive, not even a little.
It was very insensitive of Vicky Guerrero to say that. Because I hate to say it, Thunder Rosa is American citizen. Yeah. She is. She has her citizenship in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Even though, yes, she is Mexican.
She of Mexican descent.
Yeah.
So.
But, she is an American citizen, so those comments were very little insensitive, and I really do hope that Thunder Rosa really beats the living shit out of Nyla Rose for it. I think
stiffens her up a little bit, gives her a receipt for that backhanded comment.
Yeah, I really do hope that that's the case. So we go on to
granted, okay, sorry to cut you off, but granted, yes, I know they're both professionals, but at the same time, it's you crossed a line.
Right.
You're gonna get what's coming to you.
Exactly. In their main event of Dynamite, Jericho Appreciation Society beats the Dark Order. And, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of credit, give the credit where it's due for John Silver and Alex Reynolds, because, man, they put on some banger of matches every single time they're in the ring. It just sucks that they keep on losing all the time. Give the Dark Order their due, because, man, they always put on great matches, but they just keep on losing. It's ever since, the late great Brody Lee, passed away, it's just you really haven't done much with Dark Order at all, and it's kind of very sad, honestly. But, yeah, Jericho Appreciation Society is looking to grab some tag team gold, but every time Jericho says that, it never usually happens, so hopefully hopefully it could happen, but it probably won't.
But at the same time, it's how badly do you really want to see Jericho holding tag team gold? It doesn't even matter.
It would be nice to kind of see. It would be kind of nice to see it happen, because he's already the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Why not have him? Why not have him as a tag team champion as well? If not a TNT champion, be a triple crown. Because I hate to say it, I don't think there ever really has been a triple crown.
Not so far. I mean, Scorpio is probably the closest that we have because he was a tag team champion with SCU. Now he's the TNT champion. So
Right.
if anybody could become like a Triple Crown champion in AEW, at least right now, I feel like it could absolutely be. But also, I just thought about this now too. Hangman could very well be a Triple Crown champion because he was a tag team champion with Omega, and then Omega.
I could
Yeah,
see that.
there's like three possibilities now because not only do you have Hangman, you have Omega that could be a Triple Crown champion, but also now
It wouldn't shock me if
Scorpio.
eventually Scorpio Sky does get the AEW World Heavyweight title. I mean, they're kind of building him up to being a great singles competitor, so it wouldn't shock me. But moving forward into the Rampage side of things, Dustin Rhodes beats Lance Archer, where he got a little,
Yeah. Like, man, that match just proved that like how tough Dustin Rhodes truly is.
right, exactly.
That he can continue a match. First of all, like it's one thing to get a busted eardrum during a match and like stop it. It's another thing to get a busted eardrum in a match and continue
Oh, I
the
know.
match.
Dustin Rhodes definitely showed that he is one badass motherfucker.
Now, the thing about that though is like it seems like they kind of had to like rush to a finish because it seemed like Dustin was like starting to lose like some, not necessarily like some, but it definitely felt like he was starting to get a little out of it. So, because
Yeah, after
he
Dustin,
set him up because Lance set him up for the blackout, and then next thing you know, Dustin gets out, and then he like falls to the mat. So it's like, what's going on there? And then next thing you know, um, sends him like so.
yeah, Lance Archer was not very happy about that ending of that match and showed it that he ended up beating down Dustin after the match and also takes out his students and then throws Dustin through a table. He definitely showed that he was not very thrilled about the outcome of that match.
I
Eh,
think it's just like part of the show with that whole like
oh, I
thing,
think
but
so too,
at the
but
same time, it's like I'm sure the finish wasn't planned.
probably not. It probably was, kind of on the fly there, but Lance
They had to do what
in
they had to do.
some way kind of has a point to be a little pissed, but um, I think the better man definitely won. It was in Dustin Rhodes, even though Lance Archer has had very many opportunities. It just sucks that it goes to the wayside with multiple different losses. It really does. So
Yeah.
yeah, going for it. Jay Lethal says it's back to the drawing board and says they had to cheat that the two losses, the two blemishes, they had to cheat to beat him, which is very true. Yes, they
Yeah.
did have to do that. It says he has some thinking to do. Does that mean a character change? Are we going to be seeing like
We're
a.
gonna see the Black
Oh, I
Machismo.
don't think so. I don't think it's going to be that far. I think we're going to see some kind of different side of Jay Lethal. Not very, like, not one of those happy go lucky ones. Maybe like a darker, um,
Oh, so kind of like
more serious Jay Lethal, maybe.
his character in Ring of Honor then,
Probably. I could see that happening.
where he's like
If we can get the ROH side of Jay Lethal, that means good things for AEW. Just saying.
I certainly think so because like in a sense being a face never really did him any wonders in really anywhere that he went.
Yeah,
So
I agree with
the
that.
second he turned heel and started like, that's when he became television champion in Ring of Honor. That's when he became world champion in Ring of Honor. So
Yeah, I think there's good things coming for Jay Lethal. We just have to be very patient and wait and see it happening. But I think it's going to be a character change, and I think it's going to be a darker side of Lethal.
I mean, it is a shame though that like Ring of Honor went on their hiatus because I certainly think if not for the hiatus, then Jay Lethal would absolutely still be a part of Ring of Honor in some way, shape, or form. But who's to say that like now that Tony Khan is the new owner of Ring of Honor, who's to say that like there couldn't be some sort of like cross promotional thing
Hmm.
with AEW and Ring of Honor that like Jay Lethal could still be a part of Ring of Honor.
Right. Going forward, Fuego del Sol says he's ready to fight the House of Black. And then,
Be careful what you wish for, Fuego.
yeah, exactly. Then they come out, they beat him down, and then Dark Order come out and stare down the House of Black. Will this lead to anything? Yeah, I think it's going to be the Dark Order versus the House of Black in some way. I don't know what
Yeah,
three members of Dark Order, but it's going to be very intriguing to see the Dark Order against the House of Black. I think it's going to be something that's going to be worth
it's going to be
watching.
happening this Friday on Rampage.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready to see it. American Top Team says the Open Challenge is over with the TNT title. And if
It's a
anyone
shame.
goes after the title, better do it the hard way, meaning
Earn it.
earning it.
Climb the ladder. Climb the
So
ranks.
I'm definitely liking that. I think it's
I can
how it should be.
appreciate
I
that.
think that's
Yeah.
how it should be.
Even though we're supposed to hate Scorpio Sky, bad man, but you know, I can certainly appreciate the idea that somebody should climb the ranks and
Yeah,
work your way up to a title
I think
match.
CM Punk definitely is one that could. There's definitely other guys that could be climbing the ranks to getting there. So we'll have them to see, but I think CM Punk is the first one that makes the most sense. It's a title that you can give him that, you know, can eventually get him up to being a world champion again. But I think at this point, CM Punk has already had that. So I think like a TNT or mid card type of title would make the more sense for CM Punk than the world title. Um, so Red Dragon beat Dark Order 10-5, and then the Jurassic Express come down, and then Adam Cole steals the tag team titles. What does this mean? It means that next week they're gonna have the stolen AEW and tag team titles, saying that these are rightfully ours. We got screwed out of them. I think it's gonna eventually lead into a six-man tag team match again. As weird as that is, maybe what they could do is a six-man tag team match for the titles. That'd be something. Be kind of interesting. Like
Put
whoever
the
wins,
AEW and put the world and tag team titles on the line in a 6 man. I could see that.
it's something different, something new. So we'll definitely happen to see what happens with that.
But they should really make trios tag team titles.
Yeah, I agree. I think they really should do that too. I mean, I know it was in the plan, so we'll happen to see what happens there. Um, Thunder Rosa says she's coming for Nyla Rose. Thoughts, as she should. That's all I'm gonna say. Uh, Thunder. Well, I said Thunder Rosa, but Nyla Rose beats Maddie Rankowski, who is one of Rose's students. So I wonder how many of Rose are Thunder Rosa's students. Nyla Rose will, or how many of Thunder Rosa's students Nyla Rose will beat down before getting her hands on Thunder Rosa. Um,
They
Probably many
seem
of them.
to they seem to always make Nyla Rose like the first opponent for any new champion.
Yeah, it kind of does seem like that.
Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but it's like
Like
you
I've
really
been
can't think of just giving the former champion like her rematch.
right. I know it kind of sucks, but
Like you could easily have another barn burner match between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker for the world title again.
yeah, you could. But
potentially at like Double or Nothing or
Britt
whatever.
Baker
But
should get an opportunity at the TBS Championship, honestly. But we'll see what happens because I don't think they officially ever went up against each other. So, yeah.
well,
Uh,
who's to say? You know, poor Ruby Soho, man.
I
Like,
know she really hasn't been utilized very well ever since losing in that tournament.
yeah.
QT Marshall was going to give Hook the certificate of accomplishment and then throws Aaron Solo into it. I don't know how I feel about this whole thing because we've seen QT and Hook going up against each other, but makes you think, has AEW already lost ideas for Hook already? So sad because there was
Seems
a
like
lot of
it. Yeah.
promise. There was a lot of promise with Hook, but uh, I don't know. It just seems sad. Hook is a lot bigger of a household name than resorting him to, being with QT Marshall and Aaron Solo and the
Well,
factory there.
especially considering he's like he's bigger of a household name to just be relegated to Rampage.
Oh, I know.
Like, if you want to just keep him on Rampage, that's fine. But at the same time, it's like, give him bigger and better opponents.
Right, I know.
And give him bigger and better opponents on Dynamite.
Yeah, I
So,
don't know if we're ever gonna really see him on Dynamite anytime soon, but if it happens, it happens. Going on to the main event of
well,
Rampage. Oh,
before we get there, let's not forget that Danhausen tried to curse Hook, and Hook just
Dodge didn't care. He's like, I'm not about these childish bullshit games.
and even Danhausen was like, "What? This this always works. What is going on?" So
You couldn't curse Hook.
Hook seems to be the only person that Danhausen cannot curse.
So it makes you think will Danhausen go up against Hook? That'd be something. Be interesting to see.
Danhausen's first official AEW match against Hook. Poor Danhausen, he's gonna get trounced by
Well, he's
Hook
kind
if
of a
that's the case.
comedic act anyway, so it wouldn't shock me if that happens.
But
But
who's to say he doesn't feed a jar of teeth to Hook?
it
Who's
could
to say
happen.
who's to say Hook doesn't get a jar full of teeth?
But yes, going forward, into our main event of Rampage, Ricky Starks beat Swerve Strickland with um the help of
Powerhouse Hobbs.
Powerhouse Hobbs, which is so stupid. I mean, Swerve is a lot better than Ricky Starks, but then we get to see Keith Lee throwing somebody through the poster board.
The banner.
Yeah, it's the banner, and
Yeah, Keith Lee looks like that kind of guy that would throw somebody through a banner.
yeah, he probably does. I hate to say it. Then Keith Lee comes down the stair down to Ricky Starks. Will this be a tag team match? Will it be a tag team match in the future? Yeah, I
Well,
think
call up
so.
Teddy Long.
I think there's going to be, Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs against Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. That's what they're kind of heading towards. But it sucks that you got to resort Keith Lee to that team tags and all the other stuff. Like, there's just so much you can do with Swerve Strickland. There's so much you can do with Keith Lee and resorting them to team tags. But I guess it's something for them for right now. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see that tag team match. I think it's probably going to happen on a, probably on another Rampage, if anything. But it's going to conclude this episode of No Final Bell. Please follow us on social media at Tinkle Sports. Um, Make sure to follow Tinkle Sports and Entertainment as we have, No Final Bell every Wednesday at 5. I turn 4 every Tuesday at 9 a.m. I think something like that. And then, of course, we have Sunday Morning Tinkle every Sunday at 9 a.m. Um, Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on all of our videos on Tinkle Sports Entertainment. As always, we will see you in the next episode.